Welcome back to the channel. This is Holden from Classroom Camp, and I want to talk about a TV show I just finished binge watching, and that TV show is Adolescence. I don't watch a lot of TV, however, when there's something that grabs my attention, I normally go out of the way to watch it, and usually this results in a binge. I binged Love is Blind, Severance. I recently started watching another show called The Studio, and Adolescence has been on my radar because I've heard so much about it. Movie and TV YouTube is one of the niches that I follow regularly, so I'm following channels such as Double Toasted, John Campea, Christian Harloff, John Roca, and I love Jeff Snyder and his takes and his scoops and things of that nature. And a lot of these YouTubers were talking about Adolescence and how powerful the show is and what it did for them, and I just had to check it out for myself. Some of these YouTubers were saying that they were bawling by the end of the show, and that's all I really knew about it. I knew based on the title that it had something to do with adolescence and a teenager and tragedy or something like that, so I said, I gotta check it out, and I started watching it last night and finished it today. It's only 4 episodes. They're about an hour long, so I pretty much just binged the entire thing and decided that I would share my thoughts. Adolescence is a fictional show about a 13-year-old boy who is accused of murder in the aftermath as he and his family have to face inevitable challenges. This show resonated with me on multiple levels because I am a teacher. I work with teenagers on a regular basis. I also studied psychology as my undergrad, and all of those elements were here in the show. You had the teenage life aspect, you had school, you had psychology, and to see all of this together in one show was just very interesting. One factor that truly makes this TV show stand out against other similar TV shows is the fact that each episode is one shot. This is a popular filmmaking technique I've seen in a lot of recent action movies, such as the Chris Hemsworth Extraction movies, Keanu Reeves, and the John Wick series, where you have these long scenes and it seems like the camera never stops. You get the same thing here in this TV show, as each episode just has a camera that is free-flowing, going from character to character, scene to scene, room to room, and it's just all one thing. What this does is make the show seem so real, and if you weren't told otherwise, you might think this is a documentary because the acting is so good. I mean, the actors, they deserve all the awards because I truly felt for them. There are some intense scenes in this show and it just seemed so natural. I was amazed at what I saw, especially from younger actors, which you hear stories about how they're difficult to work with, but all of these actors were phenomenal. This is a non-spoiler talk about the TV show, and I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give anything away, but just imagine these really dramatic scenes with a lot of tension that raises your anxiety levels and sometimes pushes you to the point that you just want to sob along with the characters. The main reason I wanted to talk about this TV show is because there are some profound ideas and themes present in the show that are worth restating, and even though I'm not a parent and there is a heavy emphasis on parenting in the show, I still thought that there are some things that I could take away and I would like to share them with you. My first takeaway is that we don't have all the answers, and we never will. Life has its mysteries, and sometimes things just happen. Yes, we can take action to influence the outcomes to some degree, maybe sway the course of nature, but at the end of the day, sometimes things happen with no explanation. At some point, it doesn't do us any good to keep searching. Our searching is futile, and we're only hurting ourselves by trying to find answers that aren't there. This is an idea I've had to personally reckon with certain tragedies that have occurred in my life, and I have tried to find out and ask God, why did this happen? And just finally come to accept that there is no answer. I may never have an answer, and I have to be okay with that. A lot of Christians, for example, in circles I have run in, have tried to come up with various theories about the creation of the universe and a global flood. How did this happen and how does this align with science? At this age in my life, I have come to the point where I have stopped searching for those answers because I don't think those answers will ever exist. And the best I can do is put my faith in God and let that be that. And even if you aren't a Christian and you don't believe in God, regardless, this message that's in Adolescence is something that you can take to heart. Inevitably, you will have questions about things in your life, and you will try and search either endlessly and never find the answers you're searching for, or find those answers and be disappointed by what you find. My second takeaway from this show is that some things are just out of our control, and we cannot blame ourselves for everything. We can look back on events and say, what should I have done differently? How could I have done this? And to some degree, that is good. It is good to reflect on life and think about how you can make better choices moving forward. But recognize that you can't control everything, and I don't care what people say about how, well, I'm going to speak this into the universe and you can do anything you set your mind to and yada, yada, yada. I don't necessarily buy into that. I do believe we can take action to influence the world around us, but sometimes nature is just nature and we have no control over that. Personally, I do believe that God is in control, and the more control I try to exert over my life, ironically, the less control I have. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying we should just sit around and do nothing or just let nature take its course. However, we need to have reasonable expectations and recognize that we don't have ultimate control over everything. I think we can do our best to try and achieve some goals, and as long as we are doing our best, we have nothing to be ashamed of, and we should have no regrets. If things don't go our way, we have no reason to beat ourselves up because maybe it just wasn't meant to be, and maybe there is something better waiting for us down the line. I would recommend Adolescence to any parents, teachers, really anyone who is interested in this subject matter because it is a fantastic show. There's no violence, no nudity, anything like that. There is quite a bit of language, so if that's not your thing, you may want to steer clear. If you have 4 hours of time, it's extremely bingeable, but for those who are a little sensitive, you may want to take this one in small doses. I normally cover educational topics here on this channel, and I do think this is a great watch for teachers. If you're a parent or teacher, Adolescence will give you some insight into some of the issues teenagers deal with and will help you in your conversations with the students and children that you see each day. Anyways, that's all I have for you. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this kind of educational content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.